Ruining Classic Mercedes. Extremely pleasing. You look at this thing and you go, how wonderfully designed you are. What an aesthetically pleasing automobile you are. You know, these cars haven't even really lost anything to time. They're not like a 90s Hyundai or a Mitsubishi 3000 GT where, as Jesse likes to say, you get in an accident and there's just a sea of plastic everywhere. So today I was thinking about this topic and about how there are groups popping up on Facebook and other social media for people that have ruined classic Mercedes, you know, much in the same way you would ruin a young woman with father issues by turning her into a prostitute, or ruin your body by drinking tons of Mountain Dew and snorting cocaine and injecting methamphetamine. And so I look at that sort of culture in the same way that I look at classic Mercedes culture, and sort of like this rot or disease that has occurred that is taking, you know, constitutes taking things for granted and quote unquote ruining them. Now, part of the problem, part of the reasons why we have groups like this that can't look at a car and appreciate it is because we have a group of people these days who are, you know, we'll call them millennials or Generation Z or whatever, but they're basically living off of their parents' wealth and what their parents have accomplished. That, or they're angry because they can't have and they can't appreciate nice things. And so what happens when they see something like this that's like an elegant and refined thing from the past? They doesn't process. They want to make it their own thing because they don't have enough brain cells to appreciate the original. Sort of like somebody who sees, you know, I don't know, like a Monet painting and says, man, those nude women are just not, you know, lifelike enough and are not sexually appealing enough. We need to sex them up. And I look at the way that people have taken these cars and quote unquote customized them, and what it shows is a lack of appreciation for the car. Now, back in the day, if you bought a 108 or a 109 series car, it meant that you were doing pretty well and that you had good taste. I think we can determine those two things are probably true. You bought one of those cars if you understood that you were buying the best car possible. You wanted a car that was totally silent to drive, like a bank vault, or, you know, like a well-constructed airplane. And you knew that compared to other cars on the road, it was not so great. Now, the test of time can be pretty harsh in a 108 as the suspension deteriorates and as engines get tired from running at 4,000 RPMs all day. But it doesn't mean that you should necessarily ruin the car. And I look at how this group of people glories in making the car sort of their own thing, which I know some people might say, okay, well, it's their car, they could do what they want with it, or this is just a tired 280S or whatever. But you can't look at something and just because it has issues or because it doesn't please you or because it's not good enough for you or whatever, doesn't mean that you can't raise your level of intelligence and appreciation for things. Sort of like an ignoramus who goes to an art museum and appreciates fine art after being exposed to it. I think with these car ruiners or these 108 ruiners, it's very important to keep trying to educate these people to get their IQ level up and to get their appreciation of these cars up, or else they're going to start, their idea is going to spread. So when you have a bad idea like this, like taking one of these cars, chopping the roof, painting it some stupid color like Skittles pink, you know, putting a Toyota engine in it, which it's like, come on, you know, Toyota engines aren't that great. They don't belong in everything. They just belong in Toyotas and Lexuses. And you know, you lower the car and put air ride in it or whatever. The problem that I see that underlies or underscores this whole philosophy is that the people who are doing it are simply not smart enough to appreciate the original thing. They think in their own arrogance that with their like budget of $5,000 or $10,000 or whatever, and their cheap paint job, because let's face it, nobody does a good job, you know, with customizing these cars. It never turns out like a factory original. That they can actually outdo the factory and create a better driving experience. And while there are some ways to create a better driving experience with the 108 or 109 car, such as upgrading the rear axle in a 280 SE sedan, or I don't know, building a 5.6 liter high compression engine for your 280 SE 4.5, when you really start to get away from Mercedes engineering and mix and match other types of inferior engineering, you end up with junk. So I have a request for you guys. Let's work together to stop this car ruining culture, because I don't think that these people should be given a platform. And I think that if you're into keeping 108s pure and original, you know, maybe join some of these groups on Facebook and make sure to, like, you know, so that these people don't have tunnel vision, so they're looking at their shit bastardized 108s all the time. Post some pictures of your nice car that's properly done up or whatever, and, you know, try to educate them a little bit about how they're doing things wrong and how we're doing things right by actually restoring and rehabbing the cars. And trust me, there are a lot of people on this channel who maybe don't agree with me. You know, I don't really care. Just for the record, it's nice to have more subscribers. I don't really care how many subscribers I have, because I prefer to tell the truth. But part of the truth is that, you know, people who like to quote unquote ruin the W108 and ruin other classic Mercedes are stupid. And I mean that literally. They don't deserve any sort of anything, you know. I don't like it at all, and I don't want to give any of these people a platform. So we have to fight it tooth and nail. Now, how can we fight it tooth and nail? Well, if you've always wanted a 108, buy one and fix it so some other idiot doesn't get their hands on it and ruin it. Number two, you know, share what you're doing with your car. It doesn't have to be a secret, even if you think your car isn't the greatest. Even like the rustiest, nastiest 250 SE that's running under its own power is still better than some modded and customized hoonigan antic, you know, that is basically just on Instagram so that the guy who owns, so that the incel who owns it can get a couple of hits from some girls in Russia who think he might have a little bit of money or something. And, you know, finally, I think that the most important thing we could do is glorify and show off cars that are done right, you know, even if they're not perfect. You know, bring them to Amelia Island, bring them to the car shows, show up at clubs like 3 Point Social Club, you know, so the guys who are just like, look, man, I'm like hella flush, bro. You know, you could be like, you know, that looks stupid. I don't like it. Okay, anyway, all right, enough of my opinion. So, if you don't like my channel, you can unsubscribe. But if you do like it, please subscribe. And if you don't like the message in this video, then you can leave a comment. But if you like the message in this video, then leave a comment for those comments that don't like the video. And tap the bell for notifications and give us a thumbs up. And if you really like this video, then you could support us on Patreon as well. So anyway, enjoy driving your Mercedes Benz, and take good care of the 108s. They're never going to make these cars again. Thanks.